Welcome back to Rattlesnake TV, guys. So Donald Trump has started to put his cabinet together and he's making some waves, and the liberal media and the establishment are absolutely freaking out, which we're going to cover today. Now, there are a few picks that haven't really caused much of a stir that are sort of flying under the radar. And when they do fly under the radar of the media and of the establishment like that, then we should probably ask a few questions about them. However, if the swamp does start freaking out and panicking, then we know we're probably onto a winner. And this is the case with quite a few of Trump's picks so far, which we're going to focus on in today's video, starting with my personal favorite and a based warrior, Matt Gaetz. Now, like me, many of you would have blocked the following clip out of your memory and would have it buried somewhere deep in your subconscious. But this is the sort of humiliation that America had to deal with when Biden and Harris were in the White House.
One sec. Democracy's calling. See you, Daddy. Bye.
Hi, my name is Cooper, and this is a day in my life as a White House intern.
We did it, Joe.
No, God!
Hey, everyone. Vogue.
Usually I start off with a big coffee. Sorry, they're like really strict in here.
No, God, please, no! No!
Hey, Jenny. I booked you a nail appointment, love.
Yeah, I didn't tell you to do that.
It's called Initiative. Hi, White House. This is Cooper. I don't think so. Oh, doesn't matter.
No! No!
So I'm sorry to bring up that trauma, guys, but the good news is that we now get to substitute that with this.
Like, why is it that the women with the least likelihood of getting pregnant are the ones most worried about having abortions? Nobody wants to impregnate you if you look like a thumb.
Is it safe to say that based off of your comments, you're suggesting that these women at these abortion rallies are ugly and overweight?
Yes.
What do you say to people who think that those comments are offensive?
Be offended.
You love to see it, and I share the same sentiment as Thomas Massey.
He'll get confirmed by the Senate. He's the Attorney General. Suck it up.
That's right, libs. Suck it up. Now, Matt Gaetz is also a very competent guy. He's a talented lawyer and somebody who has been staunchly loyal to Trump over the past 4 years, more than we can say about a lot of people who used to be on his bandwagon. And he has been ferociously defending him in Congress the last 4 years. So let's have a look at some of Matt Gaetz's highlights and see what he's all about and see why it is that the liberal mainstream media and the swamp establishment are freaking out so much.
What's demigender?
Sir, that's a term of the people that are eligible for that particular scholarship that is available to. It's a person who looks at their gender in a different way than I do, sir.
Well, sure, that's all of these people. You're a cisgender man. You don't even get to apply.
Well,
do you know what demigender really means?
I'm not really sure, sir.
Right. So, do you know what agender means? All one word, not a space gender, but agender.
Sir, I don't.
Right, so here we are pushing a fellowship, calling for people that you don't even know what the words mean, and the number one group of people, the cisgender men, are excluded. Now, in the name of diversity, equity, and inclusion, should we be pushing programs that we can't define that exclude the largest group of service members?
It's
Donald John Trump.
I'm sitting here with my father. I will make certain that between the man sitting next to me and every person he knows and my ability to forever hold a grudge, that you will regret not following my direction. I am sitting here waiting for the call with my father. Sounds like a shakedown, doesn't it, Director?
I'm not going to get into commenting on that.
You seem deeply uncurious about it, don't you? Almost suspiciously uncurious. Are you protecting the Bidens?
Absolutely not. The FBI does not and has no interest in
You won't answer the question
anyone
about whether or not that's a shakedown, and everybody knows why you won't answer it. Because to the millions of people who will see this, they know it is. And your inability to acknowledge that is deeply revealing.
I've made it a living hell for the swamp rats, and many of them are retiring now. In fact, CNN just ran an article blaming me for their departures. You are welcome, Mullen. You see, when I offer these critiques that include the conduct of some fellow Republicans, I catch a lot of heat. Don't get me wrong, I'd prefer to just fight the Democrats. But if the Republicans are going to dress up like Democrats in drag, then I will lead the fight against them too.
What night are you speaking? Are you speaking tonight? Or one person? No. Hey, you're not. If you took that stage, you would get booed off of it. You would get booed off the stage. Speaking of government bureaucrats, I have heard enough of that sniveling little twit, Dr. Anthony Fauci.
Just wondering, Mr. Attorney General, has anyone at the department told President Biden to knock it off with Hunter? I mean, you guys are charging Hunter Biden on some crimes, investigating him on others. You've got the president bringing Hunter Biden around to state dinners. Has anyone told him to knock it off?
Our job in the Justice Department is to pursue our cases without reference to what's happening in the outside world.
Just yes or no. Have you done that?
That is what we do.
So it's a no?
No one that I know of has spoken to the White House about the Hunter Biden case.
I'm wondering then.
Of course not.
Okay, I got it. So Hunter Biden is selling art to pay for his $15,000 a month rent in Malibu. How can you guarantee that the people buying that art aren't doing so to gain favor with the president?
The job of the Justice Department is to investigate criminal allegations. You have information.
Are you investigating this? I mean, someone who bought Hunter Biden's art ended up with a prestigious appointment to a federal position. Doesn't it look weird that he's become this immediate success in the art world as his dad is president of the United States? Isn't that odd?
So, my kind of guy. John Bolton is also freaking out about this.
President-elect Trump intends to nominate Matt Gaetz to run the Department of Justice. What was your immediate reaction when you heard that?
Well, it must be the worst nomination for a cabinet position in American history. I think this is something that falls well outside the scope of deference that should be given to a president in nominating members of his senior team. Gaetz is not only totally incompetent for this job, he doesn't have the character. He is a person of moral turpitude. And notwithstanding how difficult it may be politically, this is a nomination the Republican Party should oppose.
CNN reporters are having an actual emotional breakdown.
Doesn't mean you can't be Attorney General, but he's not going to receive a very warm welcome from the career folks there. We've seen people today, our fellow reporters, crying, hugging in the hallways. I've gotten sources from text messages from sources, the Trump administration, the Biden administration. No one is endorsing this.
What's your analysis, Ellie?
So just more of those tasty, salty liberal tears, guys. Bring them on. Keep them coming because we are thirsty. But, guys, if they are mad about Matt Gaetz, then they will be double mad about RFK Jr.
To steer clear of politics, but this really isn't about politics because this is somebody who has been, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who has been pushing quackery, who has been pushing lies, who has been pushing conspiracy theories. You've been talking to experts in the health community, the medical community, preparing for him, RFK Jr., to be given some sort of role in health. What have they said to you?
Well, you know, it's not often that the entire medical and public health community is going to be in lockstep on something, but they're pretty close on this in terms of their significant concerns, horror even. Somebody said to me today, I can't think of any single individual who'd be more damaging to public health than RFK.
Somebody who they have been trying to smear for years, because if he comes in to Trump's cabinet, then his agenda will be to stop those that are poisoning Americans every single day and make America healthy again. And this is a huge, huge problem for the swamp, because if RFK comes in and does a serious audit of the health department and actually implements the changes that he would like to implement, then some of the biggest donors like Pfizer and Moderna are going to be licking their wounds. And it goes to show, as Pfizer and Moderna's stock prices both took a giant dip as soon as RFK was nominated by Trump. But just think about how perfect this is. I mean, People really like RFK for this stand that he takes. He's a pretty brave guy, and he's really gone up against some very nefarious powers in his quest to obviously make America healthy again. And I think that I would share the same sentiment as a lot of MAGA people who like that part about him, but don't necessarily want him as president and wouldn't have supported him over Donald Trump, for example. So it's just the perfect compromise to have him come into the Trump cabinet and to be able to do what he does best and just sort of leaving aside all of the more leftist policies that he champions. I mean, having him head up the Department of Health is seriously just the perfect choice. And before we get on to the next candidate, guys, talking about Trump's cabinet, I wanted to introduce you to the newest design on the reality-based store. It is our very own MAGA Wars design. As you can see, we've got Donald Trump in there. Elon Musk is Han Solo. We've got Tulsi Gabbard. We've even got Vivek Ramaswamy as Master Yoda. Plus, this hoodie is really good quality, and we've got our Christmas catalog on the store now as well. So go and check out all of that. The perfect Christmas presents if you've got a based family member or friend, or if you've got a liberal that you just want to sort of, just show them the light a little bit. Anyways, let's get back to it. So Pete Hegseth was nominated for Defense Secretary, which was pretty surprising. I mean, even for MAGA people, I think no one really saw that one coming, because the criticisms are that he doesn't have enough experience in government. Yeah, right. But he is a veteran and a very accomplished guy. And I don't think that Donald Trump would nominate someone he doesn't think is good for this job, particularly this one, because this is a very important role. I mean, the Defense Secretary oversees the biggest budget, bigger than any other department by far. So, like many others, I don't know too much about him, but I've done a little bit of research and he's got some pretty solid takes. Let's check him out.
I spent for months my Saturdays just on the phone, off the record, anonymously with guys in service. So, senior listed, junior listed, junior officers, senior officers, all branches, MOSs, eras, but mostly guys in right now, generals, privates. And all the same themes came out. Standards are dropping. The woke stuff is everywhere. I feel like I'm walking on eggshells. I heard that all the time, eggshells. I'm a commander, I walk on eggshells. I train commanders. They're walking on eggshells. They're afraid of one misstep on one identification or one gender thing or one racial thing or one trans thing. And the priorities are upside down on what the units are focusing on. And every single one of those distractions means we're less good at our job, which is supposed to be close with and destroy the enemy on behalf of our nation and bring our boys home. That's all I care about. That's what I want our military focused on. Men and women are different because being transgendered in the military causes complications and differences. And the book kind of lays out the common arguments that those on the left or others make, which are baked in social justice. So it started, we saw it under Clinton with the tinkering of Don't Ask, Don't Tell and the reasons for those changes. And I talked to some of the people involved in when that was changed. But it really started to accelerate under Obama. And you saw it you saw the trans stuff come at the end of the Obama administration. You saw the women in combat come at the end of the Obama administration. It's because they looked around at the bureaucracies that they controlled in Washington, and the one that was that they didn't control. Obama spent a disproportionate amount of time focusing on the Pentagon. They were skeptical of leadership and eventually brought in political appointees and generals who would do their bidding the way they wanted, which, as you know, in a top-down organization changes the ethos of the whole thing. So the book is meant to pull the whole curtain back, mostly from Obama forward, and explain how the Army that I enlisted in, or that I swore an oath in 2001 and was commissioned in 2003, looks a lot different than the Army of today. Because we're focused on a lot of the wrong things.
Now, one of the other people that a lot of us are thrilled to hear will be a part of the cabinet is Tulsi Gabbard, and she has been nominated for Director of National Intelligence, and the swamp creatures are absolutely livid about this one.
Director Brennan, your thoughts about Tulsi Gabbard?
Well, Nicole, I think you and Tom Nichols have done a great job just underscoring all the concerns that people have about this appointment. Clearly, Tulsi Gabbard has taken actions and made statements over the past several years that really raise serious questions about her common sense, her judgment, as well as her political sympathies. cozying up to Putin as well as to meeting with Bashar Assad, I think really does show that she doesn't have the type of perspective that is needed for somebody who's going to head up these 18 intelligence agencies. And as Tom Nichols said, she doesn't have any qualifications. The Director of National Intelligence, that's a really serious position and a very complex and complicated one that requires somebody who actually has an understanding of the intelligence community. It's like an orchestra conductor of all the different agencies and departments that are involved in the intelligence process. And I don't think she understands even the instruments that are involved in this orchestra, nor has she had any experience at the strategic level of running and leading a large, complex organization.
Well, I think that Tulsi Gabbard's nomination to be Director of National Intelligence, when I first heard that today, my immediate reaction was hilarious.
Why?
She's totally not competent for that job. Gaetz is the worst. She may be tracking in at the second worst. Haven't had a lot of time to do research on the Tulsi Gabbard nomination. But
Tulsi Gabbard is someone who has met with war criminals, violated the Department of State's guidance, and secretly, clandestinely went to Syria and met with Assad, who gassed and attacked his own people with chemical weapons. She's considered to be essentially, by most assessments, a Russian asset, and would be the most dangerous.
Is that how you consider her? Is that what you consider her?
Oh, yes. There's no question. I consider her someone who is likely a Russian asset, who would be as the DNI responsible for managing our entire intelligence community, hold all of our most significant intelligence information and secrets, and essentially would be a direct line to our enemies. And so the irresponsibility of these appointments.
Don't you love in the first clip how he mentioned how the intelligence community is not very thrilled about this? Yeah, no, I bet they're not. And I mean, Tulsi Gabbard doesn't want war with Russia, wants diplomacy, and had a meeting with Bashar al-Assad, somebody who the US was bombing for decades. This must mean that she is a Russian and Syrian asset, guys. Seriously, how the political discourse has sunk so low is actually confusing to me. They will sit there and be serious when they say that somebody is a foreign asset for meeting with a foreign leader. I mean, isn't that what you're meant to do? Aren't you meant to try and find solutions? What a disgrace that these people can just go around saying these things and still be taken seriously. So anyways, last but not least, guys, definitely the most earth-shattering revelation so far is the newly created Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE. I wonder who thought of that name. Now, this will be spearheaded by Vivek Ramaswamy and obviously Elon Musk, and we know what these guys are capable of. And Vivek Ramaswamy has openly said that he wants to gut 70% of the swamp bureaucracy.
25% of the people will get 90% of the value delivered, right? So if we're going to have a 75% headcount reduction, which are the 25% that you keep? One of the things that we're working on, and we have a multidisciplinary group working on this now, is large-scale screening, testing, from psychological to knowledge about the federal government to competence to work ethic. The way at scale, we're going to pick out who those 1 out of 4 are that we're going to keep, selecting for excellence as our basis to do it.
And we know what Elon Musk did when he took over Twitter. He fired 70-80% of the employees. So these guys are both absolute savages when it comes to cutting bureaucracy. These guys are both market-tested business experts and have succeeded hugely in their endeavors. So very, very excited to see what they do with that. I mean, let's just have a look at some of the things that the US government is spending money on. And tell me this doesn't kind of just look like money laundering.
The Fed spent $500,000 on a study to see if selfies make you happy. $1 million went to study if Japanese quail were more frisky if you gave them cocaine. The Fed spent $20 grand on drag shows in Ecuador. $80,000 in Ghana asking taxi drivers if climate change makes it harder for them to drive. And $500,000 was spent so Fauci could create transgender monkeys. But it's not just waste. There's 3 million federal employees, and a lot of them don't even do much more than collect a paycheck. Most government workers in D.C. are still working from home. COVID's been over for 3 years. But worst of all, $500 billion a year stolen by fraudsters. We lose $500 billion of your money to fraud each year. We're getting ripped off like a Walgreens in San Francisco, and no one cares.
So not suspicious at all there, guys. I mean, seems completely above board. But anyways, in terms of all of these nominations, time will tell if they're actually approved by Congress, and time will tell if they're actually effective and good choices. We know that Trump did make some poor decisions with his last cabinet, came back to bite him, and he definitely will not want to do the same thing again. So with that, guys, don't forget to like the video, smash that subscribe button if you are getting value from the channel. Check out our winter catalog and also the MAGA Wars hoodie. I think you guys will love that. And also, if you'd like to watch another video, you can click right here. Till next time, I'm Jake. This is RattlesnakeTV, keeping you armed and dangerous.